Welcome to the NGI Generation Network Conversation, a podcast brought to you by the NGI Enrichers program. After completing their fellowships in the USA and Canada, our fellows and hosts are back to share valuable insights and expertise on today's most relevant topics that are shaping the future. In today's episode, we'll explore the innovations and applications of artificial intelligence in healthcare. We'll dive into how AI is transforming the field, with real-world examples and new perspectives from the people driving these changes. Now, let's hear from our experts about the latest in artificial intelligence in healthcare.
So Tessa participated at our NSF I-Core program, and I was pleased to join her in that adventure. So thank you, Tessa, for joining us today. And I would like to introduce also Dr. Cheng, or CC. CC is an associate professor in the school in the Binghamton University. Binghamton University is one of the 4 universities, part of the very famous State University of New York system, SUNY. Some of you may have heard about Binghamton University lately in the news because of their groundbreaking innovation around batteries without lithium. Also, they have a great soft landing program, Soft Landing New York, with a Kaufman incubator. CC research focuses on sensing, statistical learning, simulation, optimization of complex dynamic systems, including different smart health applications. So we can mention accurate diagnosis and prognosis of sleep apnea, dementia diagnosis, real-time assessment of sepsis progression. So CC will give us a lot of examples of how AI and healthcare are working together. So now Sebastien will introduce our next speaker.
Thank you, Blandine. Thank you all. Thank you for the invitation. It's an honor to be here. It's fun to see all of you, as I've been working a little with Tessa and meeting many times with Farid. Thank you, Farid, for being here, and hello, CC. So Farid, we have been working together on the West Coast since I'm based in San Francisco, and we're talking about the Sonoma State University. So what we know of Farid is the chair of the engineering department, or engineering science department, or electrical engineering. That's what I read at Sonoma State. You're also the director of advanced internet technology in the Interests of Society Laboratory, and that's also an important role, and closer to us Europeans in your past life or before your academic position. You have been working as a research scientist at Alcatel Lucent Corporate Research, and you were responsible for the development of terabyte optical routers. So a lot of experience. Thank you for participating in that exercise, talking about AI and healthcare. You do also a lot of things around AgTech, and that's kind of the few projects we were involved in together. So again, thank you, and I will leave the floor to Blandine to start firing a few questions.
Yes.
You receive those questions, but we have less than what you got initially. So you'll be able to that should be a little shorter, and more time to process and exchange. Thank you.
So the next 15 minutes, we're gonna focus a bit what you did with through NGI Enricher program as a host or as a fellow on real world applications and outcome for AI in healthcare, but also in human health, because AgTech affect our health as well. So around healthcare and human health. So first, I'm gonna shoot the first question to Tessa. Tessa, can you share some concrete examples how AI and application in healthcare and their outcome, using Splendo technology? So if you can explain a little bit more how you've been developed that.
Yes, of course. Yeah, so Thank you for the introduction earlier, Blandine. So as you mentioned, at Splendor Health, we have our product Splendor Monitor, and with that, we try to assess cardiorespiratory health of patients. Usually when you do this, you have to go to a lab setting, and now we do it with wearable technology and our data collection platform. And another product we have is our AI platform, and here we import the data from that we collect during the test, and we try to do some extra analysis on this data. So we have done before a project with heart failure patients, and with the signals we got during this project, we try to automatically identify where the important parts of the signal are. So you want to know where the peaks are, and using this information, you can deduce extra information about the health of the patient. So that's one of the early pilot projects we have successfully completed at Splendor Health.
Thank you so much, Tessa, to giving concrete examples, because it's a big AI, and then we have concrete examples. It helps a lot.
Yes, of course.
The next question is for CC, actually, because how has AI improved patient diagnosis, treatment planning, and personalized medicine? You worked in a lot of different fields, so if you can tell us a bit more about them.
Yeah, I would like to use the buzzword, the P4 medicine, the predictive, preventive, personalized, and participatory. So I'm not a physician or doctor, but I'm an industrial engineer. I would like to use systematic-based approaches to handle complex systems. So healthcare is a very good application. I have collaborated with domain experts. One application is sleep apnea. We did a long time ago. So before that, we applied sensors on the machine. Then we think the human body is just nothing but a machine. So we started to analyze the ECG signal. So we realized that when sleep apnea occurs, we do affect cardiovascular function. So we think about a home test system. You do not have to go to sleep center for multiple nights. Just stay at home using a very simple one-lead ECG signal. But you have to be able to harness critical information from the raw data, one-lead ECG signal. So we did that for accurate diagnosis. It almost has the same accuracy as the PSG, the golden standard. So I think with the AI and also the wireless sensing smart wearable devices, we do have a chance to finally realize the P4 medicine. So from the predictive, preventive to personalized, and also we need the participatory. We need a lot of we need patients to participate in these preventive healthcare. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Last, this question is for Farid. What are the key area where AI is already making a significant impact in healthcare and in health equity today?
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me, and thanks for the invitation. Well, it's been a couple of the key issues that AI has been extremely helpful, obviously, is in analyzing patient data and then helping physicians to make diagnostics. But at the same time, over the past couple of years, AI has also been pretty effective in terms of administrative. For example, one of the things that AI has been very helpful, and there are many tools right now that are helping helping the nurses as well as other physicians, is that apparently in the United States, just nurses alone, they spend about 20% of their time just writing the conversation that they have had with the patient. And using the new AI tools, they can use that time much more effectively. And then they spend the time talking to the patient, actually understanding their situation. In addition to that, AI has been really effective in creating a holistic diagnostic for the patients. Like not only just look at what the patient's problem is at the moment of the visit of the doctor's office, but also being able to look at the historical data and then kind of gather a holistic treatment for the patient based on the previous experiences and problems and treatments that the patient has had. So I think in that regard, the AI has been really effective in kind of looking at a very holistic treatment for many of the patients. And that's the path that I think AI has kind of put us and put the the personnel and the doctors and nurses kind of look at a much more integrated treatment rather than just trying to look at one specific treatment for the patient.
Thank you so much, Farid. I'm gonna let Sebastien move to the next topic.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the challenges and opportunities of AI-driven healthcare. And based on your experience, ask you a few questions, one question each, like what we just did with Blandine. So I'm going to start with Tessa. What has been the biggest challenge in implementing AI technologies in healthcare settings, related to what you've been working on?
Yeah, so one of the biggest challenges we face at our company is actually the data collection, where for doctors, a number of data points may sound like very much. When you use it in an AI setting, it can actually be very few data points. So it's hard to find that balance where you don't want to overload doctors with the study that you want to do, but you still need to collect enough data points to get useful information to use in the AI modeling.
Yeah, an important point. So thank you, Tessa. Let's talk now about the regulatory framework, CC. What regulatory framework are necessary to ensure safe and effective use of AI in healthcare? So based on what you know, obviously.
Yeah, based on my experience, one thing we need to focus on is data. I think Teresa talking about data collection. It's a data imbalance or inequality issue in healthcare. So we were writing this proposal, and we found that there was an article published by McKinsey Health Institute last month talking about the health inequality in cardiovascular disease. Actually, the female population, they have a very high number of occurrence compared to male population, and even after discharge from a hospital because of cardiovascular related disease, they have a high chance for recurrence. Reason is in gender-based, family or culture, societal reasons. A lot of reasons will give rise to this health inequality. I think so. I'm not sure how AI can solve this. I'm still working on this. But I do think regulation from the government agencies and from the society, we do need to work on these inequality healthcare issues.
Yeah, interesting. So that was the output. Yes, we're gonna uncover things that maybe we don't want to uncover. Then we're gonna have to solve new issues exactly on equality or equity. Thank you, CC. Farid, how do we address concerns around data privacy and security in AI-driven healthcare solutions?
Yeah, I think one of the challenges right now with the new healthcare system that's coming up is the fact that, we are continuously using a lot of wearable devices, which we're utilizing that data to actually for the treatment. So when we're using these wearable devices and individual devices that everyone has, we have to not only make sure that the data that is gathered, collected at the hospital level is secure, but also we have to make sure all of these little personal devices that people are wearing and using outside the hospital, they're also secure. So I think that definitely poses a great challenge, not only for the hospital-graded systems, but also for all the other devices, which basically try to integrate our data from every aspect of life for a holistic treatment. So this is definitely a big challenge. And, like in the United States, for example, there has been laws, including HIPAA, for example, that basically pays a great deal of attention to data security and privacy. But in addition to that, recently, for example, we know that White House executive order has actually published several articles specifically about AI and the use of AI and the privacy of the data. So I think this is something that the government and many of the researchers are currently dealing with. And it is definitely a major concern as to how we can truly make sure that the data is private, and we make sure that everything we have a secure system and secure framework. This is definitely a challenge. And I think many of the researchers are currently working on that. But there are laws, and the main challenge is to make sure that these laws, especially when it comes to AI frameworks, are being implemented correctly.
Yeah, exactly. We already have laws on for healthcare, but the challenge of more data, more data generated through Gen AI, also big data, new topics, new concerns. So thank you for sharing. I will leave the floor to Blandine for your next set of questions.
Yes, so my next set of questions, it's really to open up, to talk about how the role of AI in modern healthcare, really how you see AI transforming healthcare in the next 5-10 years. Because we discussed first, real life applications. Now, thanks to the new sensors, we can treat the human body as a machine and test and get data, even if it's challenging, even if regulations needs to be set up better. But there are a lot of applications. But how do you see AI transforming your field? So Tessa, do you have some predictions for us?
Yeah, I think AI tools will be used more and more as a tool for healthcare professionals to use and to help in decision making. So, for example, in oncology, there's already a lot of work done in classifying the different subspecies of, for example, brain tumors. While the models are not perfect, they are a good tool to help informing a doctor about the possibilities. Maybe they can help confirm their initial suspicion, or they can help them bring them to another idea. So, oh, maybe I can look into this as well, because it's a strong possibility that it's another option. So it can help broaden the doctor's mind into what they want to look at, or help confirm. And outside of oncology, it also is being used in mental health and all these different fields. So I think it can be a really good addition to the human fields of healthcare.
Thank you. Cici, how do you see AI transforming healthcare? For the better or for the worse too, because there are things that will change definitely.
Yeah. Before ChatGPT, I always think AI would be an assistant to us in healthcare domains. But after ChatGPT, also I did my own research. I think I changed my mind a lot. I think AI will finally be the co-pilot. We still have a human being in the loop. It's not purely AI, but the AI will be the co-pilot working along with us to solve the healthcare problems, from diagnosis, prognosis, probably to join the decision making. But I do not think AI will replace us completely, particularly for like safety critical healthcare applications. We cannot truly make a decision truly based on the AI. They are our co-pilot. Yeah, that's my vision.
Thank you. Farid, do you have other predictions on how AI can change modern healthcare?
Yeah, I think it is well known, and especially many doctors believe that ultimately, as everyone else said, it's really the human being, it's really the doctors that are going to be in charge. So they're the one that make the final decision in terms of the treatment. But at the same time, I think AI is becoming it's a tool. It's a very effective tool, and it's becoming more effective as we develop new models. But how it's operating right now, it's augmenting patient treatment. It's helping the doctors and nurses to make better decisions. And to that end, I think it's important to realize that, at the same time, a lot of these models, a lot of these large language models that exist, in some cases, there is still hallucination. There are still, there have been reports that, for example, they actually report on specific clinical trials that they don't exist, and they propose certain treatments that may not be correct. So I think we have to be cautious, but at the same time, it's definitely something that has been helping the treatment decision making, and it continues to be more effective, more safe, and more secure. It's a tool that is growing, and I think everyone kind of believes that we definitely have to use it, but at the same time, we have to be cautious about how it's being used. And the concern is that, you know, the treatment should not be left alone to the AI. And ultimately, as we said, it's the human being that has to be the final decision maker.
Well, about being careful, maybe I'm trying to steer the pot a little bit. How can we make sure that we have ethical consideration, that we keep them in mind when AI become more and more integrated? How we can make sure that you know, everybody is represented. You mentioned about women. We're discovering new thing about the heart, and so how can we protect that and ensure, and who will pay for it? Who wants to take that challenge? Farid, just to, or Sisi, go ahead.
Yeah, I can say something. I think it's very hard to make sure or to guarantee anything from the AI. Just like a driverless car, we have problem almost every day. Right? When we have this problem, like government may ask you to stop the driverless car on the street. You have to fix this problem in your algorithm. So I think we are going to have these problems in our algorithm, in how we think about AI every day. We cannot guarantee anything. But different from the driverless car, in healthcare, we may not be able to tolerate some like these silly mistakes, right? So a solution, I think, is still we have to, even we have to slow down AI, we still have to keep human in the loop. I think these are key words. We cannot guarantee anything from the AI side, unfortunately. Yeah.
Tessa, do you have some opinion about how to guarantee women are well represented in AI, for example?
I think it's very hard because to be able to guarantee it, we need to have the data already. We need to have data, and currently it is sadly a fact that female anatomy is way less studied than the male anatomy. So I think going forward with the when we train AI on healthcare problems, we need to ensure that we have a diverse population that we try to include in our studies. Only that way we can move forward getting this this representative data and models.
Thank you. Farid, as you have you're also an expert in AgTech and other, you know, like broader areas. How do you think AI can help us to be healthier?
I think I think one of the key advantages of AI is basically to be able to integrate historical data. And to that end, I think AI is a great tool. Perhaps not to make the final decision, but definitely to prompt the doctors to ask the right questions. For example, there has been several studies that, you know, if you actually measure all the vital systems of a single person in a day, you can generate 24,000 data points per day for a variety of reasons based on basically 7 major key parameters that you can collect data from a person. And, you know, if you actually collect so many data points in real time, then, and you have a system, you have an AI-based system that it can put all of these data points together, connected to the historical data, connected to the clinical trials that exist, you know, with that, you can not only potentially suggest certain treatments, you can kind of also help the physicians to ask the right question, to ask, for example, specifically, you know, we talk about sleep apnea. You know, there has been a number of studies that, you know, people don't sleep well just because they have a bad pillow, for example. You know, there are a number of things that the doctors, that which right now, many of those questions that can be kind of leading the right decision making and the treatment. Sometimes it kind of get lost because we just simply don't have enough access to the data, especially in real time. And I think AI and potentially with the use of some of the wearable devices, we can bring all of that data together, and potentially the doctors can make a much better decision in terms of treatment. And right now, one of the issues that many researchers have been proposing is that many of the treatment is simply based on the questions that you ask from the patient at that particular moment. And their responses to those questions may be completely, it may be different from what the reality says. And I think gathering that holistic data and putting it all together, integrating that, could be a great tool to make the final decision of the treatment.
So Farid, your prediction is we'll have all wearables in the future, and so we'll all have to get used to it, right?
I think this would be this would be one of the key things that I think when you go to doctors, for example, you may come back with a device on your wrist for 24 hours and they say, go back home with this, and then we monitor you over the next 24 hours or 48 hours. And the decision making will be made basically based on that, not necessarily what I tell the doctor at that moment.
Thank you so much, Farid.
Can I add something?
Go ahead, of course.
For Farid, for your point, I just want to extend that. I heard this story. It was at a conference presented by Google scientists. They are talking about a human body project. So the aim is to have a holistic picture of what's a healthy human body. So they can do the, like you said, a good historical data. They can do the treatment decision, not just based on what was your response at the site of doctor's office. They have a clear idea of your history, so they can give a precise decision making for early intervention, like your behavior, right? Your exercise, your diet, to change your course of your disease progression. Yeah, but I'm not sure it's current progress for the Google Human Body project, but I think it's very interesting. Yeah.
Thank you, Cici. I want to add, moving away from sensor into the prediction, with all what happening with the understanding of the genome, the genomics, with the understanding with AI, but also more capability of calculation with quantum and supercomputers, I believe also will change the way we can develop drugs faster, have new targets, design new compounds. Instead of taking 20 years or 15 years, we may take 5 years. I think we forget also we'll have the ability to design way more cool stuff for us and test them. So any comments on that, like moving away from sensors?
Yes, we already see this happening. We have, I believe it was Google that released a model where they predict protein folding. Before they were working on this with AI, it took a long time to identify the structures of these proteins. And now we have a much clearer picture of what these structures should look like. And based on that, we can see if they are useful for different purposes, for example. So it's already a lot of work going on in that field.
Yeah, it's exciting. Farid or Cici, are you working in those type of projects?
I'm not working on a protein or drug discovery, but I do work on a computational part. I know that for most AI models, computational cost is a big issue. So we have a high performance computing in Binghamton University. Sometimes if you want to get faster, you have to pay to join the queue to use more nodes. I know a lot of AI algorithm can make your algorithm fast, but it's still a pain. You may observe that we have huge electricity demand because of the AI application. Although we are moving away from the sensing, but I do want to mention that in sensing, smart sensing, you still have to have the computational power to do this, right? The quantum computing may be able to solve that. I don't know. I'm not working on that, but I know the computational cost is a big issue. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not working with drug development, but obviously, as you said, there has been a lot of development in terms of the speeding up the process of understanding new drugs and developing new ones. But I do work with a pulmonologist. In particular, we are actually working a number of, for example, X-rays and image processing. And I think that in that area, AI has also been extremely helpful. For example, the X-rays that from the chest for people with pulmonary problems. These are the AI currently can detect certain things that in the past, perhaps it was very easy to miss those issues on an image or X-ray. So I think from that regard, AI has been
Imaging, yes.
extremely effective as well.
Yes, definitely. Sebastien, I'm going to leave you the floor to maybe, talk about, conclude and talk about the computing power that we'll need to do all those things for imaging, compiling data, and how we can solve all of those things. You're muted.
Yeah, sorry. First, you were mentioning drug discovery, and so I think you were referring to that amazing project you've been working on the NSF regional engine. It's fascinating how you can accelerate drug discovery, and that we are not the only one working on that. Obviously, he started, we say, even before the ChatGPT story, and RNA was also one solution that has been used during COVID, but that's a big one. And we are very proud to support such an initiative, and hopefully we'll get an engine for the region. So thank you for for bringing that up, because that's something so you've been very active and really kind of the pillar of that project, Blandine. On how do we relate to other things we do? Yes, there's a lot of talks about energy consumption. As we are following other initiatives more in the ICT space, we are very present at different trade shows. So not only Bio in Biotech or JP Morgan, but also CES, more in a broader realm of industries, really covering a lot AI, but also the hardware of AI, and also at the chip level and all the different layers. Energy consumption has been a big topic, and how to reduce the use of battery, having battery closer to the processor. So that's really happening. Obviously, edge computing also has been became bigger as a way to maybe split the use of resources between the edge and the servers or the cloud. So that has been a lot of work has been happening with hundreds of $millions distributed in different scale-ups. So that's what we will represent at CES with EAEC. EAEC has been a strong player with a $10 billion fund in Europe, and so we have a chance to see really the letters of the letters at CES, also among our companies. Also, quantum computing, that's a big topic, and how we can use quantum computing as a way to accelerate computing, but also maybe better use of resources. So we see now project that will see the light probably in a year or two in terms of really final products. We talk also about hybrid situations. You will see, I think, a lot of research university with a supercomputer center. We're working hard on quantum computing, so it's happening now, but it's going to see the light. I say another 12 months, but it goes super fast. So thank you for reminding us that Blandine, that really everything is linked, and that and so there is a lot of excitement, but there's also reality of resources, hardware. Also, the data topic came up right away. We talk a lot about data sovereignty. So there's a lot of projects where countries say, okay, that's all great. Now we're going to have more data. But even more, we want to control that data. Can we have our own cloud? So that brings back the smart city topics and how healthcare is part of that smart city umbrella, which become a political topic. So we participate a lot at the Smart City Expo, where we talk about all that with different initiatives, also open source initiatives, where nobody wants to, countries want to avoid anyone controlling or owning codes, or it's all about contributing and sharing. And so that's really what's going on. That's where we live every day. But we are not the expert of healthcare. We needed the experts today to really go into details of what they've been working on, and so we touch and go on things, and it's fascinating to read all of you sharing your projects and what you've been working on, and really making a difference for all of us, but also on the transatlantic manner, really, between Europe and the US. Blandine, the last word, or anyone, the last word on that?
So I just in NGI Enricher host, we have Fermilab with a federal lab in quantum. So there are a lot of things happening for healthcare, using quantum for calculations and so on. So it could be the topic of another discussion. That NGI Enrichers has allowed people working in a lot of different fields. As you mentioned, we talk about developers, sensors. We talk about hardware to connect and hopefully make a world a little bit safer and healthier for all of us. Farid, Cici, or Tessa, if you want to say a last word, is there something we forgot?
Maybe in the realm of NGI,
yes.
also.
Yeah, I think, power consumption is a huge deal. There has been some studies that, for example, currently data centers, they consume about 1.5% of the global electricity. And then they say as AI and the training models become more advanced, potentially they can go up to 8 to 10% of the global electricity. And that's a huge number. And as Sebastien mentioned, as the global as the AI technology becomes more widely used around the globe, and every country wants to have their own data centers and their own data tools, to that end, this number can grow. And while we were talking about sustainability and global warming and all of that, this can definitely have a diverse impact on the overall initiative that has been going on. So to that end, add to that all the batteries that they need. We talk about sensors and wearable devices. It's like they all need batteries. So what are you going to do with those batteries, right? So you don't want to throw them away. So battery-less technology has also been one of those areas that people have been working on, but unfortunately at this point they're not at the level that they can be used for medical technologies or as into medical devices. So I think those are all huge challenges that not only on the AI side, but also on the infrastructure and building greater and more effective, they call it, for example, green networking or sustainable computing. These are some of the areas that people are actively working on to deal with these issues.
Thank you, Farid. Cici, one last word.
I think the future for healthcare is really about smart and connected health. So we really have three things: the software algorithm, the hardware sensing, and last critical piece is a human being. So we always need to keep human in the loop. So it's integrated three components for future healthcare.
Thank you so much. And Tessa, as you're in the middle of all of that, literally, with the technology you're developing.
Yeah, so as Farid mentioned before, I think wearables will play a big part in the future of AI in healthcare, in both data collection and discovering new things about the human health.
Well, thank you, everyone. I don't know if we have time for one or two questions, but that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you, and see you on the next episode. Follow us on our social media and stay tuned to our website to discover the new features of the NGI Enrichers program.